Welcome to another daily roundup of Russian Telegram chatter. Your like and subscribe to my channel would really be appreciated. Subscription is free and it only takes a moment of your time. I monitor and translate Russian Telegram chat channels as a general mood check, so you don't have to. Remember, please do your own research and be wary of propaganda and disinformation, which occurs frequently in Russian chat, especially when there is bad news for Russians concerning the country's illegal and genocidal war in Ukraine. The images used in the video are for illustration purposes only. They do not necessarily represent the issues or translations. And finally, please note, the chat is unverified and I do not endorse the views expressed. Right? Let's get on with it. On Telegram today, Putin's most successful project so far is with his subject Donald Trump, who will reclaim the White House, a Russian Real Clear Politics survey shows. He will instruct courts to cancel the court cases against himself once he is coronated in January and look for Russian-style retribution on all opposition. Then meet with his boss, Putin. Trump's campaign team believes that the winner of the US election will not be determined by the end of the day, Wednesday morning Moscow time. But, as CNN reports, the Republican team is confident that the results in several key states will be announced by the end of the evening, which will give an idea of how the election is going. Trump will declare victory in a few hours and cry foul for the next week until Jan 6 is replayed. What a comrade. Turkey has launched a ruble swap to facilitate trade with Russia. Bosphorus Gas is the second largest private importer of Russian gas in Turkey, collects rubles from Russian companies that owe their Turkish partners, pays the latter an equivalent amount in euros, and then uses the rubles received to pay for gas from Gazprom. The organization plans to conduct all operations through the state bank Emlak Katilim Bankası. According to Bloomberg, the initiative is an example of how businesses are adapting to Western sanctions. Russians' bank deposits may be frozen to avoid crazy inflation, said Alexei Zubets, director of the Institute of Social and Economic Research. According to him, sums exceeding tens of trillions of rubles have accumulated in citizens' accounts. If the interest rate is reduced, these funds may be withdrawn en masse, which could cause uncontrolled inflation. To prevent it, a limit on the amounts available for withdrawal from a bank account is being discussed, Zubets noted. Russian authorities are preparing to change the system of payments to military personnel for injuries and make the amount of compensation dependent on the severity of the injury. At the moment, if a serviceman is wounded in the war in Ukraine, he receives a fixed amount of 3 million R. In addition, if the wounded is declared unfit for military service, he is entitled to another 2.9 million rubles. The battalion commander, hero of Russia, Mikhail Petelin, said that one loses a leg and another receives a shrapnel wound, but both are paid the same 3 million rubles. And there are many such examples even in my battalion. The head of the Komi Republic, the guarantor of its constitution, Vladimir Oyba, announced his resignation. He said that he was leaving for a federal position at the suggestion of the president. Oyba was ranked last among heads of regions. Putin gave him the choice, window or the door. Russia ranks second in the world in the spread of drug-resistant tuberculosis. Tuberculosis regains its status the most deadly infectious disease on the planet. In 2023, it took 1.25 million lives, the World Health Organization reported. During the year, 8.2 million people were diagnosed with tuberculosis, and this is a record for all time of observation. The Russian Federation did not make it into the top 30 countries with the worst situation with this disease, but took second place in the world in the spread of drug-resistant tuberculosis. In 2022, it was detected in 19,000 patients in Russia. There is no more recent data in the report. India leads in this indicator, where almost 65,000 patients with resistant tuberculosis were identified, but also the country's population is 10 times larger than Russia's. Doctors explain this by the fact that the problem is connected with the social characteristics of the spread of the disease in Russia. Representatives of disadvantaged social classes rarely undergo a full course of treatment. Migrants are again being issued work permits en masse due to a shortage of personnel in Russia. In the first 9 months of 2024, the authorities issued 120,000 such documents, which is 41% higher than the same period last year, according to the Ministry of Internal Affairs. The department specified that 35,000 permits were issued to highly qualified specialists. Donald Trump has proposed paying off the US national debt by issuing crypto. I'll write a small paper about allocating $35 trillion in cryptocurrency, and that's it. We have no debt. Children under 14 in Russia are to be completely banned from using social networks. The Association of Entrepreneurs for the Development of Business Patriotism has already sent such an initiative to the government, the Federation Council, and the State Duma. They called for platforms to be required to register users exclusively with a passport. Social networks that refuse to implement the new rules may be blocked. Such a measure will help protect children from dangerous content, the organization believes. That's all for today, folks. Thank you for tuning in. Please remember, the chat is unverified. I do not endorse the views expressed. Be wary of disinformation and DYOR. I monitor and translate Vatnik channels as a general mood check, so you don't have to. I do not endorse the views expressed. Be wary of disinformation and do your own research. Please remember to like this video and subscribe to the channel. I also leave comments open for feedback, which I really appreciate. You can view my original posts in much more detail on Twitter. Follow me at bfeeta_fella. My research threads also include full references and sources to speed up your own research. Did you know that I also provide daily updates and deep dive research videos on a range of interesting subjects, including economics, geopolitics, sanctions, sanction circumventions, fossil fuel updates, and much more. If you are able to support me, look for the links to buy me a coffee and Patreon. I do provide links in the description of the video. I really appreciate all the support I can get towards my research, equipment, and publication costs. Thank you to those who have supported. You are simply awesome. Your regular support is really appreciated. The YouTube edition of my Russian Telegram chat translations is released every night at midnight UK time. Have a great day. I look forward to your next visit.